Welcome to this Santa Barbara Breast Cancer Resource Center yoga class. We are delighted to welcome you to this class. This is a very gentle yoga class specifically designed for individuals who are making a journey through breast cancer. It's very important to understand that everything that is offered in this class is simply that. It's an offering. It's never a directive or a direction. It never means that you have to do something the way I do it or the way I demonstrate it or the way I even verbally introduce it. In the end, you are your own inner teacher, and it is very important and an essential part of yoga to really tune into your body, to tune into your breath, and to tune into your own mind, and to make your own decisions about how you would like to move, how you would like to breathe, and how you would like to participate. You are your own inner teacher. I can only offer guidance. The rest is up to you. But I am delighted to be here with these two beautiful models and with those of you who may be watching this session. So the way our sessions unfold for the BCRC yoga is that we always start with an opening centering. And this is a centering during which you can be seated or you can be lying down. After that, we take a few breathing exercises. Then we do some very specific physical warm-up. Then we'll move through a few additional yoga shapes. And at the end, we have a closing meditation. And then at the very end, we have about 2 to 3 minutes of complete silence. This is called Shavasana. It is a resting pose, and it is specifically designed to help your nervous system integrate everything it experienced during the practice. It's probably one of the most important parts of a yoga practice, and sometimes people are very tempted to skip it because it's at the end of the class. But it actually really is a lovely way of letting what happened in the class settle into your body, into your tissues, into your vitality, into your breath, even into your mind, your thoughts, and emotions. And so I hope you'll join us for the entire hour or so of BCRC yoga. We are going to use today a yoga mat. If you have one at home, that would be great. As you can see, all of us have them. They're helpful because they provide a somewhat less slippery surface than, say, a concrete or a wood floor. If you don't have a mat, you can absolutely still practice with us. Perhaps maybe have preference for a carpet over a really hard floor. We also tend to practice in our bare feet, but that's not a must. You can absolutely wear socks. And in fact, there are special yoga socks that have little sticky dots on the bottom so that they could even replace a mat. The other thing we will use today, you don't have to use it, but we will show how to use it, is a chair. Any kind of chair without wheels will do. If you use a chair, just make sure that when we use it, it is in a stable position so that it can slide out from under you. So either having it on a sticky mat or having the back of the chair against a wall would be helpful. And then for some of you, it may be helpful to have a block or a stack of books or some old phone books or an upside down cooking pot or a Tupperware bowl. You can even use two rolls of toilet paper or paper towels and just put a rubber band around them so that if you need a support under your hands, you can do that. And we will demonstrate that during the course of the class. Other than that, you don't really need anything other than some comfortable clothes, an open mind, and an open heart. And so welcome, and let's get started. All right, so for the opening centering, I invite you to find a position of your choice. You could be on the floor in a seat or on a chair in a seat, or you could choose to lie down on your mat. If you do sit on a chair, I invite you to sit in such a way that you feel your spine is upright, whether you're seated on a chair or the floor. And so I will show this from the side. What I'm talking about is sitting in a way so that your spine is in its natural curves, so that you can sort of feel this little bit of a inward curve in your low back. And usually what that means for most people is if they're sitting on the floor, they need to sit on a blanket. On a chair, it's usually fine just naturally. And you might see that on the chair, our beautiful model is not leaning back and slouching into the back of the chair. She is finding those beautiful natural curves of the spine. If that's too hard and you need to slouch into your chair, that's absolutely fine. But it can be helpful over time for the low back to begin to build the strength in your body to sit in this natural way. And if you're lying on the floor, you may see that our beautiful model is showing you that a lift under the knees can be very, very helpful for the low back. It kind of takes the stress out of the hip joints. And that a blanket under the head coming down toward the tops of the shoulder blades is a wonderful support that allows you to find ease in that position. And so with that said, I invite you to arrive in this moment and in this space, to check in with your body one more time if there are some little shifts or wiggles or changes that would bring more ease into your body. And know that you can make little adjustments like that throughout the practice. You never have to freeze into place. And as you settle into this moment and into this space, I invite you to make a discerning choice about how you would like to place your eyes. Maybe you would like to close them, or maybe you're in an environment where you feel more secure if your eyes are open. If that's the case, maybe you can find a gentle gaze point on the floor somewhere ahead of you, inviting your eyes to soften. And as you continue to settle into this moment and into this space, you might also want to make a conscious choice about how you would like to place your hands. Sometimes placing the hands down with the palm either on your thighs or on the earth can be very grounding and settling for your nervous system. At other times, you may feel more support if you lift your palms so that they're facing upward, ready for inspiration, for something new. And sometimes it feels nourishing or comforting to have your hands at your heart. You can experiment with all of those positions if you're not certain what you need in this moment, and then always know that you can change your mind if something doesn't feel right. And continue to settle into this space and into this moment as I invite you to draw your attention now into your body. If this is the first time you have attended to your body in this way, it might be helpful to find a specific focus, say around your belly button. And just noticing sensations in that center of your body. Maybe there's a sense of gentle movement here from the breath. Perhaps there's a sense of warmth. Maybe there's a little bit of gurgling. Can you allow yourself simply to meet whatever sensation is available in this part of your body? And then perhaps you invite your focus to expand a bit so that you also sense into the entire torso and maybe the places where your body is meeting the earth. If you're lying down, that may be the entire back portion of your body. If you're in a seat, it's maybe your feet, your legs, your hips. Can you allow yourself to feel that meeting place between your body and the earth? Can you give yourself permission to allow your body to settle in, to settle downward, to release, and to ground? And from this sense of grounding, you might notice that there is still an upward lift through your body. There's an expansiveness perhaps through your edges, the crown of the head, the toes of the feet, the tips of the fingers. And there may be a stabilizing force at the very center of your being. Stability that comes from your core muscles, your back muscles. Stability that comes from entrusting your body to this moment, accepting whatever sensations arise, and allowing yourself to be with them. And holding your body in loving awareness, gently draw your focus now, your attention to your breathing. This beautiful representation of the energy or vitality that you're bringing into this moment with you. There's nothing to change here. You are simply observing how your breath is unfolding for you. Noticing your inhalations, noticing your exhalations. Fully present as air travels in and air travels out. Can you simply be with the breath as it is unfolding right here, right now? You might notice if there is a gentle sound in your breath or if your breath can be silent. Sometimes the breath has a bit of a texture, like little hitches and glitches, and sometimes it's just smooth like silk. How is your breath moving through you? Does it feel possible to breathe only through your nose, taking advantage of the beautiful filtering actions of your nose, taking advantage of breathing through the nose as a way of also breathing into the belly, breathing into the entire mid-region of your body. Perhaps this is where you feel your breath, is in the movement around your waist as the belly expands with the inhalation. The low ribs travel outward and upward as you draw breath in. And as the belly draws in, the low ribs lower themselves down and draw inward as you release a breath out. Can you meet your breath with curiosity, with kindness, with gratitude even, for the vitality that it delivers with each inhalation, and for the release, for the letting go that it offers you with each exhalation? And holding your body and your breath in your compassionate and loving awareness, gently shift your focus now to notice what you are bringing with you in your mind. Perhaps noticing your mind state. Are you distracted, focused, concentrated? Or is there chaos? Is there a little monkey jumping around with lots of thoughts and emotions? Can you give yourself permission to notice those thoughts, to notice those emotions without judging them, without hanging on to them, without chasing them away? Letting them be, being with them in this moment, just watching, as you might watch clouds moving through the sky. And holding your breath, your body, and your mind in loving awareness, tune in for a moment to the amazing capacity you have as a human being to pay attention to your breathing, to your thinking, to your body, to your emotions. Can you treasure this capacity you have to take this moment, to seize this space, to be with yourself, to observe, to become mindful? to learn about yourself so that you can make wise choices about how to nourish yourself, how to support yourself, how to help yourself move through challenge and suffering, how to bring compassion to each moment of your experiences for yourself, but also for others. Can you recognize your profound embeddedness in a greater community that supports you, sometimes challenges you, and that helps shape your experience and whose experience you help shape? And perhaps, just perhaps, in appreciating all of these parts of you, your body, your breath, your mind, your wisdom, there is a certain joy in meeting yourself so consciously. From this place of having connected to body, breath, mind, wisdom, joy, I invite you, if it feels appropriate and if you're in a position that allows it, to perhaps draw your hands to your heart as you bow your head to your heart. Maybe directly, or maybe you just imagine bowing your head to your heart, to set an intention for your time on the mat today. This is a simple guiding philosophy that may help you move through this practice. It could be a simple word such as peace or compassion, or it could be a phrase such as cultivating loving kindness, giving something back to my community, finding soothing for myself. It could be nonverbal. It could be something that is a felt sense that has no words. If an intention arose for you, I invite you to draw it into your own heart with your next breath in, and to silently release it outward into your community with your next breath out. So from here, you can either stay seated on the floor or on a chair, or you can stand up if that's more comfortable, and that's what I will show. And we'll move into a bit of a breathing practice. So a couple of options here, depending on what's happening in terms of how far out of surgery you are, or whether you have restrictions because of radiation or fibrosis or edema. So there are two different movements you could take. You could bring your arms out in front of you. So we can just show that. And you can inhale to open the arms to the degree that your own body allows, and then wait for the exhalation to bring the arms together, letting the palms touch. And if that's very uncomfortable because of restrictions in the chest, then there is another possibility. And my models will continue to do heart breath, and I'll show sun breath, where the arms lift with the inhalation and lower with the exhalation. So yogi's choice sends into what is more appropriate for your body, sends into your own range of motion. Maybe if you're doing what I'm doing, you can only come this high, and that's perfectly beautiful. Just allow the arm movement to mimic the breath. So the breath is primary. The breath guides the movement of the arms. So the arms will move as slowly as the breath. There's no hurry. There's just patience and compassion for what shows up. And as you inhale and exhale here, as your arms move, you might notice if it feels comfortable to close your eyes so that you can sense into the movement from the inside out. And you let the movement be guided by your breath as opposed to what you might see on the screen. We'll do this a couple more times, just very mindfully, very slowly. And on these last two times, imagine that you're drawing your arms through some kind of viscous substance. Could be peanut butter or molasses, or it could just be water. But just feel how that little bit of resistance slows the movement, slows the breath, and engages your muscles onto bone. Finish the round that you're on and take one more. We won't all be synchronized. That's totally normal. And at the end of your next exhalation, again, not hurrying that along, perhaps your hands land at your heart and you take a moment to tune into your heartbeat, your breath, and the reverberations, however subtle they might be, through your arms, your shoulders, your neck, your chest, perhaps the entirety of your being. You can stay here if this serves you well, or if you would like, you can continue on with us and release your hands down with your next exhalation. And let yourself settle into your seat, or if you would like to move into a different position, this would be a great time to switch. And then from here, with your next inhalation, lift your arms up and overhead and let the right hand catch the left wrist. And we're going to be opposite. So you'll move to the right as you exhale. You'll inhale to rise, nice and patient with the breath. Maybe at the top of the breath, the hands switch so that the next exhalation takes you to the left. The inhalation brings you up. The hands switch, all in the rhythm of your breath. Yoga is not a synchronized sport across people, but it is synchronized within you, within your body. So you always synchronize with your breathing, with your mind, with your needs. And yet we are all still connected to one another in this group as well, just by our presence together in this shared space. We'll continue to do this for at least 4 more rounds of breath. And that's just an approximate. For some of you, that might be 3. For some of you, that might be 5. Letting yourself perhaps sense into that beautiful opening of the side body as you stretch yourself side to side, not overdoing anything, always listening to sensation in your body. And then the next time you have moved to the left, let that be your last time. And perhaps find yourself back at center with your hands at heart whenever you have arrived. Using that moment to bring the hands to heart as a moment of yet again very consciously meeting your experience in your body, your breath, and your mind. Notice if there have been any subtle changes. That's not a requirement, it's just an exploration. Maybe a subtle change in breathing. Maybe a subtle change in how you're experiencing your body. Can you give yourself the gift of patience here, of looking inward, of paying attention? You can continue to linger here, or if you feel ready, you can release your hands to your side. And if you need to wiggle or move a little bit in between, that's always okay. So my body certainly felt like a little shake here before we move on to the next thing. So give yourself the joy of that. It's also a great way of releasing stress or trauma out of the body. So it's always good to move or shake or wiggle. Now from here, we'll bring the arms out to the side yet again. This time the palms are facing forward. And tune into your fingertips here. You might even make visual contact with your fingertips on the 2 sides. And then with your next exhalation, you'll round yourself forward and let the fingertips touch. The first couple of times you might want to watch as you do that. With the Inhalation, you'll open your heart and you will move in your own range of motion. If there are restrictions from scars, scar tissue, or surgery, please move mindfully. So, anyway, what I was saying, the first couple of times that you exhale and bring the fingertips together, you might need to watch and see so that they actually meet. But then in time, see if you can bring the fingertips together without having to watch. Can they find each other in space? Creating what we call a nice proprioceptive sense of where your body is in space. Or at least your fingertips, if not your whole body, right? And can you also, if you have another point of focus that's possible for you, notice the beautiful curving forward of the spine on your exhalation when your fingertips meet. And then perhaps the lovely heart opening and curving back in the spine as you inhale and open yourself up a bit. And we'll finish this round and we'll take one more round. And after that second heart opening of that second round, when you are finished with that, you can bring the palms yet again together at your heart to reflect on your experience during this very gentle flexion and extension of your spine, and perhaps the profound sensations in the upper torso, in the shoulders, and perhaps some regions in your body that are sensitive or feel vulnerable. And so notice what is present for you in your body, your breath, your mind. And you can stay here and continue to observe if there is more to notice, or if you would like, you could move on with us, releasing your hands yet again to your side to move into a bit of rotation. And so when we rotate or twist in yoga, sometimes you hear instructions like keeping the pelvis centered in place. And we all know that that's really not that great for your low back. It's not great for your SI joint, your sacroiliac joint. And so when we rotate and twist in our BCRC yoga classes, we move our whole body, right? We move our hips into the turn. And so you can start anytime inhaling and reaching up and forward, and then switching sides. Here you don't have to stay with the breath if you don't want to. You can tune into what feels comfortable for you. As you reach up, as if you were trying to reach something off a high shelf in your kitchen. And you might notice if you're seated, your pelvis might lift on the opposite side and move itself around. So there's a lot of motion here. If you're standing like me, you might notice that one knee will bend and the other one will extend as you move in this way more natural way of bringing some rotation into your spine. And so these warm-ups that we've been doing, where we did the side bend and then our weird fingertips touching and now this rotation, they're called the 6 movements of the spine. And in the yoga world, we say that you're only as old as your spine is flexible. And so we're always very much focused on these 6 movements of the spine to warm ourselves up in each practice, to stay attuned to that idea of keeping ourselves flexible. And that's not just in your body, but that's in your breath. And that's most of all in your mind. And if you'd like to speed up a little bit here, if that serves you in this moment to maybe awaken and become a little bit more active, you could move a little faster. And you might see that some of us were flicking our fingertips here at the end of the movement. We're bringing a little extra action into this turn, bringing a little bit of joy and power into what we're doing. And we'll just do this a few more rounds. You can, of course, always pause the video if you're on video and do it longer. And you can always quit and take a break if something is taking too long. And we're just going to do 4 or 5 more. And then after the next time, you come to the opposite side than what you started on. I don't think I cued which side to start on. So whenever you think you've become even on your 2 sides, you can begin to slow it down just a little bit, very deliberate, letting the movement just sort of peter itself out. And then at some point, by now you know it, your hands will come back to your heart. Maybe your head bows to your heart as you sense inward. Notice your energy now. Notice your breathing, your body, your mind. Notice if you can feel your heartbeat under your hands. What is present for you? How are these 6 movements of the spine reverberating? Have there been any shifts in your experience? And whenever you feel ready, you can release your hands to your sides. And from here, I will begin using a chair as well. We will come to standing, so find your way to an upright position. And I will angle myself a little bit, so hopefully you can see me okay. And the chair is there as a support for 2 of us, and for one of our beautiful models, she will actually show what we're doing on a chair using a couple or maybe more, maybe 4 blocks under her hands, so whatever might work for you. If you don't have blocks, well, most people have a chair in their home, so grab a chair instead. Or like I said, the paper towel rolls actually work really great. Just make sure that they don't unfurl, so put a couple rubber bands around them. Or if they're permanently your prop, just duct tape them. Anything will work. But the bottom line is you will face your props, so either your blocks or your chair. And you'll have about a half length distance, doesn't have to be exact, between you and the chair. And from here, inhale your arms up and down a couple of times. And again, they don't have to come all the way overhead. If there's scar tissue or fibrosis that prevents that, they can come part way up. But let yourself move with your breath very deliberately, inhaling, lifting, exhaling, lowering. And then the next time your inhalation travels in and your arms rise up, keep the arms lifted and allow your shoulder girdle to settle down a little bit. Sometimes when we lift the arms, the shoulders shrug up like this. Can you let the shoulders relax down? You might have a sensation of drawing your shoulder blades down on your back. I call it making a shoulder V. Doesn't have to be like super deliberate, but it kind of feels nice. And then just feel the weight of your arms here. You're starting to notice? Yeah. Our arms are pretty heavy, and this is a great way to begin to notice that your arms are actually heavy, that they carry weight. And so just see if you can linger here another moment. You could be out here again. It's yogi's choice. And before you move, let me show what the next move will look like. If you can hang in there, keep your arms lifted. On an exhalation, the arms will circle down. The fingertips will land in the hip creases. And you will use your fingertips to prompt your hips back behind you. Your knees will likely bend. What this does is it keeps the natural curve in the spine as you bring yourself into a bit of a forward fold. I like using the fingertips here because otherwise there's such a temptation to move like this. But we really want to get into the habit of moving from this beautiful hip joint that we have. So, from this lifted position, wait for an exhalation. You're happy, right? It's time for the exhalation. Yeah. And lower the arms down as you exhale, bringing your fingertips into the hip creases and letting that guide the forward fold. Beautiful, beautiful. To lift, to bend the knees here, right? That takes some of the strain out of the low back. And now you have the chair to land your hands on, or the blocks. Those require you to come a little bit farther down. So that's the beauty of the chair. And just let your system get used to the idea of being in this folded shape. And there's not really any weight in the hands. I mean, it's okay if there is, but it's not necessary. You could experiment with that to see if you can come to the fingertips, or if you can stay in this, what we call a half lift, with no hands at all, with hands just dangling. Can you use your strength in your core and in your back to keep yourself in this position? You might notice that if you press the feet into the earth and you get a sense of rolling the legs out, especially the lower legs, kind of this outward motion. You could even use your hands to roll your legs out. It kind of might lift your arches up for you even. It's like an external rotation in the feet and in the legs. That actually gives a little bit of lift and strength in your core too. And then whenever you feel ready, you can bring the hands back to the chair. And then just let yourself bend the knees a little bit more, just for a moment, just to feel a bend in the knees, to maybe feel the difference that this might make in your low back. And then come back toward your starting point, so your knees might still be bent. And then bring the hands to the low back. And wait for an inhalation to rise up from that hip joint again. So not rounding the back, but lifting yourself to an upright position very deliberately. Lovely. All right, we're going to do that again. All right, we'll inhale up. Exhale, fingertips to hip creases. Nice and slow, very deliberate with the breath. Folding forward, hands land on the prop, whatever your prop is. Find that engagement of the legs, that little bit of external rotation. The feet aren't moving anywhere, but on the inside, your muscles are turning as if they were trying to move the feet outward. You can stay here, or this time, if you would like, you might bend your knees a little bit more, and you might let your head descend toward the earth for a bit of a forward fold. For some of you, maybe the hands release downward toward the earth. For some of you, it might be more comfortable to keep the hands on the blocks or the chair. It's always yogi's choice. If you feel balanced, even here, you could have your eyes closed. And let yourself feel the surrender that comes in this shape. The letting go and the letting be. Inviting your body just where it is. And then whenever you feel ready, you can lift up just enough so that you can bring your hands back to your props. Then lift into your half lift, if that's not where you already are. And bring the hands to the back, the low back, the hips. And wait for an inhalation to rise up, nice and slow against gravity, building strength, building power, building persistence until you arrive standing and the hands can come back to your side. We'll just keep moving. You can always pause the video and take a little break, but here we're just going to inhale and lift the arms yet again. With the exhale, the fingertips come, yes, into the hip creases. So we're going to fly forward. Maybe you're coming all the way into a bit of a forward fold. Maybe the hands on the blocks or the chair. Maybe the hands on the earth. Just for one more moment of releasing and letting go. But with that engagement in the legs. So we're not hanging out here in our ligaments, abusing the flexibility we might have. We are strengthening. We are engaging the muscles. Wait for an inhalation to bring the hands back to the props, either the blocks or the chair. And step your right foot a little bit closer to the chair and your left foot a little bit farther away. Your forward knee is going to be bent, and your back knee might have a slight bend or it might be straight. That's completely yogi's choice. It really doesn't matter. The main thing is to keep that back heel lifted and in line with the toes. I'm not asking you to release the heel and angle the foot. That's something you often hear in yoga classes. That doesn't really serve your low back too well. You're just going to be here in this lunge, feeling the forward leg drawing back and the back leg drawing forward so that your pelvis feels nice and aligned side to side. And let yourself lift onto your prop with maybe a little bit of weight in the hands to the degree that you can. Beautiful. Yeah, nice. And can you continue to breathe through the nose quietly and subtly, even in this more demanding shape? And then whenever you feel ready, at the end of an inhalation, step the back foot forward. It could be multiple steps or one big step. Rest here for a moment, and if you'd like, you could even lift up for a moment if that would feel good for your nervous system. It's up to you. Or you could stay low. If you did lift up, and all of us did, then we'll come down the way we came up, inhaling first, exhaling to bring the hands into the hip creases, and coming forward. We're a little closer to the chair this time, so we can step directly back into our lunge on the other side. So left foot stays forward, right foot steps back. And same idea, right? The back heel stays in line with the toes, so most likely it'll be slightly lifted. For most of us, the back knee could be slightly bent, or it can be straight, and the forward knee is definitely bent. The forward leg, the big bone in your thigh, is going to draw toward the back, and on the back leg, that bone is going to draw forward into the hip. This will level up your pelvis side to side. That's beautiful alignment for your low back. It brings more strength into your core. And then as you are lingering here in this lunge position, notice your breathing. Notice the sensations in your body. And notice if there's a story unfolding in your mind. We often have a lot of self-talk when we do these kinds of things. And it's sometimes really interesting to observe what it is. And then whenever you feel ready, in your own way, step your right foot forward to meet the left. Maybe linger for a moment. Perhaps bring the hands to your low back and rise up with an inhalation. And release. the arms to your side. We're going to take one more round of this and we're going to add on a little bit. So inhale, up. Exhale down, fingertips into the hip creases. We're in our half lift. And you can keep the right foot where it is and the left foot will step back. This time, really pay attention to keeping some lift in the torso. We're actually going to lift our torso up. So the higher you can start on your prop, like maybe you're on your fingertips, the less work you'll have when you lift yourself up. Maybe you take a little waist station where the hands come to the thigh to help yourself lift. Exactly, beautiful. And then from here, this might be your stopping position, or perhaps your arms come to your sides, and then with an inhalation, reach up and overhead. They can stay here, or they can come into a cactus shape. And notice your breath. As you come into this beautiful warrior shape. We love warrior shapes in yoga because these are all peaceful warriors. These are warriors that are really about meeting challenge, facing challenge head on, and creating strength to overcome that challenge, to become resilient and to grow. And we're holding a long time. If by now you're shaking, that's perfectly great. And then wait for an exhalation to lower yourself down, inviting the hands to return to the prop. And now you have choices. Our models will step forward and come to standing from there. But another option here is to step back and to take a plank shape for a moment to build some strength in the upper body too. So those are two options that you have. You get to choose at home. You guys didn't get to choose today, so my apologies. You're just going to stand maybe with your hands at your heart, listening to what's happening in your body. And at home you have the choice to be in a plank shape for just another breath or two, enjoying your strength, enjoying your power. And when you've enjoyed about as much of this as you can stand, you can step your feet forward one at a time and rise up, hands to heart. We have to do this one more time on the other side, right? Don't want to be lopsided. So our arms to your side, wait for your inhalation to lift up, feel it in your heart. And when you feel ready, you can let yourself swan dive down. Maybe you don't even need that prompt in the hip creases anymore. But if you're not sure, it's better to take it than not. The left foot can stay where it is. The right foot steps back. And just be here in this lunge. Your mind now already knows what's going to happen on this side because we did it on the other side. And so sometimes it jumps ahead. Let yourself be where you are, enjoying the lunge. And whenever you feel ready, press into the fingertips and lift the torso before you're even thinking about rising up. Gain some height. Remember to draw that back leg forward and the forward leg back. That brings power. And then from that stable base, whenever you are ready, with an inhalation, you can rise up. Maybe you take that waist station of bringing the hands to the forward thigh. That helps you become more upright, more open in your heart. And then if it serves you, you can inhale your arms up and overhead. Maybe this is where they stay, or maybe they move into cactus, yogi's choice, whatever feels good for you. That scissoring action in the legs is hopefully still happening, right? The back legs drawing forward, forward legs drawing back. Feel the strength. Feel the shaking. Yeah, right? With your next exhalation, you can allow the arms to come down. Of course, you can always allow them to do that earlier too. And this time, everybody has the choice, including you guys, whether you would like to transition to a plank or whether you would like to rise up. So to rise up, you would step the back foot forward and then bring the hands to the back and rise. For a plank, you'll bring the left foot back. And now your weight is nicely distributed between your feet and your hands. If this is hard on the wrists, you could be on your forearms. And you can always step out whenever you need to step out. Have the sense that you're pressing the chair away from you, and that might lift your heart a little bit more. Yeah, beautiful. And then whenever you are ready, you get to choose your foot that you step forward first. We all have dominant hands. Well, we also have dominant legs. So you might have a preference for which foot steps forward. The other foot follows. Bow one more time. If you're very close to the chair, like I am, maybe your head lands on the chair and you can actually rest the crown of the head for a moment. Letting go of effort. Just present with your experience, your breath, your thoughts. You can stay here if you prefer, or you can bring your hands back to the low back. Find your natural spine, coming into that half lift. Oh, or rising all the way up. That's totally great too. It's all good. And maybe just take one more sun breath, letting the hands meet at the top this time and drawing them through your central channel all the way to your heart as you tune in and notice what is happening within you now. Some 50 minutes after we started, how is your body expressing itself now? What is present in terms of sensations? Have there been any changes, however subtle or profound? What is present in your breath? What is present in your mind? And as you're settling into this moment yet again, notice if there is anything else that wants to emerge from your body. Maybe this is exactly what you need to do, is stand here with hands at the heart. Or maybe you have a sense that you'd like to wiggle or move or shake. I can't tell you what's happening in your body after all that warrior movement and lunging movement. So just notice if there is something you would like to do and give into it. Shake it out, wiggle it out. If that doesn't feel right for you, you don't have to do it. And yet it's a great practice. It lets us shake off so much stuff. Sometimes when the world becomes really, really heavy, it's nice to just become kind of light and shake and move. So whatever feels good to you. And then at some point, let yourself just move back into stillness. And as you do this, maybe as the movements get a little bit smaller and the time is winding down, you begin to ponder how you would like to move and shape your body for the closing meditation. And so you have choices. You could sit on a chair, you could sit on the earth, or you could lie back down on the ground, whatever feels good for you. The same guidance as before applies if you're seated on a chair. You might favor your natural curves, but really in the closing meditation, if you'd like to kind of slump into the chair a little bit more and get a little bit more comfortable, you could do that. If that doesn't feel good for your body, you might stay upright. Sometimes it helps to have a little blanket on the back of the chair for a bit of softness. So these are all considerations. If you're on the earth, placing a lift under the head all the way down to the tops of the shoulder blades is helpful, and having a lift under the knees is very relieving for the low back. And so find your preferred position. And tune into your body. Once again, notice where the body is meeting the earth. Appreciating how the earth is holding and supporting you. And inviting any muscles that are not needed to hold the shape that you've chosen to relax and release. Perhaps you gently scan your body from your toes through your legs into your torso, from your fingertips through your arms to your heart. Perhaps you scan through your head and your neck, meeting sensation, staying present. And then, if it feels appropriate to you, surrender your body to the power of gravity. Nothing left to do but to let go. Take a moment to check in with your breath, noticing how the inhalations and exhalations are moving now. No need to change. No need to do. Simply letting be what is. And if it feels safe and appropriate, surrender the breath to the movement of life force that moves through all of us, allowing yourself to be breathed. And finally, check in with your mind, noticing if your mind state has changed, noticing any thoughts or emotions that are present, bowing to them, appreciating them without getting attached, and without feeling the need to chase them away, simply letting them be. Surrendering your mind to your deeper inner wisdom that will bring you back to what needs to be paid attention to later. And from this place of having let go, of having surrendered to this moment, I invite you into about 3 minutes of silence so that you may absorb the joys of the practice until the moment that my voice brings you back. And very, very gently invite your senses to expand outward and inward. Once again, experiencing your body and your breath from the inside out. And perhaps beginning to notice the world around you yet again. Perhaps there is just the sound of my voice. Perhaps there are other sounds. Perhaps you feel the air on your skin, or the tugging of your clothing. Maybe there's an aroma in your room. Maybe there's sensation from inside of you. The gurgling of a belly, the beating of a heart, the movement of a breath. And perhaps you decide to take a couple of rounds of conscious breath, knowing that you're inhaling as the breath is traveling in, and knowing that you're exhaling as the breath is traveling out. And if you are lying on the earth and you would like to close the practice in a seat, this would be a beautiful time to transition yourself and to find a seat that serves you for just a few more moments. As I invite you, if it feels appropriate to you, to bring your hands to your heart and to bow your head to your heart center. Tuning in yet again to be present for this moment, to be present in this space. As you ponder your takeaway from the practice today, something meaningful, something interesting, something unusual, something important. Let this takeaway settle into your memory banks and your tissues. And perhaps it connects to the intention that you had set at the beginning of practice. Perhaps this combination of your intention and your takeaway creates a dedication of merit for your time on the mat today. Something that you will take with you into life off the mat. Something that will serve you and your greater community. If such a dedication arises for you, I invite you to draw it into your own heart first with your next inhalation. And then to silently share it outward with your next exhalation. Thank you so very much for sharing the joy of yoga and for joining this practice today. It's a great privilege and honor to practice with all of you. Thank you so much for joining us for this practice. My name is Brems, and I teach the BCRC yoga class. We come together once a week, and you can find the schedule for the yoga class on the BCRC webpage. All of us really hope that you will join us. It's a beautiful Thursday morning community. The structure of the class on Thursdays is pretty much the structure of what you experience now. And we would be delighted and joyful if you could join us. And thank you so much for participating today. And we all wish you a great Pink Week.